All right, well, a very good afternoon to our agents and a good morning to our agents in the West Coast. Welcome to our 10-part series. We're going to be on number 4 today, Selling Europe. Today, we take you to, next slide, Venice, Como, Bellagio, and Milan. My name is Susan Lawrence from Boutique Escapes.
I'm Peter Lawrence.
I'm Sandy Valaconia.
I'm Sharon Assis.
And right now I'm going to turn it over to Sandy, who's going to give a brief introduction with the philosophy of travel for Boutique Escapes.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sandy, as I mentioned, from Boutique Escapes, and Boutique Escapes has been around for just over 20 years. It was started by myself and sister Sharon Assis, and then Susan and Peter on the west side of Canada joined in. Our philosophy of travel is basically the same as you would have for buying a house. It's all about location, location, location. We think that clients need to be at a superb 3-star, right, with something fabulous out their door, rather than a splashy 4-star in, say, a train station area that causes them about a 40 to 50-minute walk in, for example, in Rome. We'd rather have them near the Trevi Fountain or Piazza Navona than near the train station. In Paris, great locations are the left bank near either the Eiffel Tower or Notre Dame and the Latin Quarter, maybe something near Trafalgar Square in London, but we want to make sure your clients are within an easy walking distance of something fantastic where they can sit, sip, and stare at a fabulous monument. We sell only in custom packages, and we encompass tours, train, transfers, and hotels. We will even do restaurant reservations. There's a special occasion where clients just want to chill one night and know that they've already got their restaurant booked. With that said, I'm going to turn it back over to Susan.
Thank you, Sandy. So to remind everybody, Boutique Escapes strives to sell an experience to your clients. We want everyone to engage emotionally when they arrive in Europe and as they're visiting all of these magical cities, whether it be a large town or a large city or a small town. Clients should be excited to get there and should be excited while they are there. We want to remind our agents that you should be letting your clients know that culture is different. Lifestyle is different when you're over there. Don't expect everything to be the same as it is at home. And at the same time, I'm going to tell you to let your clients know that different does not mean better, and it doesn't mean worse. It simply means sit back, enjoy, and take a look at what else is out there in this big, beautiful world. I'm going to turn it over to Sandy, who's going to start with Venice.
Thank you, Susan. So, Venice, there's something so alluring about a city that's built on canals. And if you look at this map, you will see that Venice is an island. So there's only one way to get there, either this bridge, this highway, or you take a boat in. Once clients are in Venice, there's only one way to go, boat or walking. There's no cars, there's no buses, there's not even a scooter to be had. All of those are prohibited. So one quick note, this area of the area is called the Mestre. Some clients, agents, will put their clients into this area because it is less expensive. Just a quick note, to take in either the train or to take in a transfer that will get you to Piazza Roma and then a water taxi to get you into Venice is about, well, the train is about €8 each way. So that means clients automatically have to spend €16 just to get from the Mestre just to the start of Venice. Once they're in Venice, they then take a Vaporetto for another €8 to €10. So now with both ways, we're looking at about 70 to 80 euros per couple. Why not just spend that 70 or 80 euros and put them in a hotel right on Venice Island where they can take in the beautiful sights in the evening? I'm going to quickly go over how you get from either the airport or from the train station here into Venice itself. So our preferred way is to do by water taxi. These are these are not inexpensive. However, when you look at what they have to do, they take you all the way to the airport and all the way into your hotel if it's got a water taxi dock, door to door. When getting from the airport, clients should remember they have to go down about 10 or 12 stairs, one hand on the railing, one hand carrying their luggage. They then get it into the water taxi with the help of the taxi driver, only to guide it in. They don't leave the boat to help your clients get it in. And in fact, they're only helping so that it doesn't damage their vehicle, because typically suitcases are around 50 pounds. Now, with that said, the other way to get in would be to take the Vaporetto. One thing they have to be wary of, though, they could be fined once they get into Venice and they're dragging their luggage with wheels through the streets. Can be up to 500 euros if caught doing this, because the cobblestones are very, they want to keep the integrity of them. They're under a lot of water with rain, with flooding, with winter season there. So they don't want cobblestones that could chip or break it, which is why they put the fine in. We at Boutique Escapes love to book a private transfer as well as a lovely assistant to take your clients into their hotel. It's a lot of hand holding, and their experience getting into Venice, not frustrating at all. It's rather one of these sit back and look at the beauty that's around you. This lady on your left is Raffaella. Some of you have even met her, because when you've gone to Venice with the Boutique Escapes package, you've had Raffaella meet you at the train station or the airport and taking you right to your hotel. This is someone we always receive the greatest of accolades from, so we try to use her every time. The other two gals are our connection in Venice, Maria and Sylvia, who we just love. And I'll tell you at this point, the Buckles twins from Boutique Escapes and these three gals had a bit of wine under their belt, having dined at the Milan Stuckey's outdoor restaurant. The next scene I want to show you is the other way that they can get, as I mentioned, is Vaporetto, the water bus. The thing about the water bus is there's no place for your clients to put their luggage. It could be packed. This is February, surprisingly, with how busy it was last year in February. This is typical of July and August. In fact, sometimes your clients may have to wait 2 or 3 Vaporettos because they're so full they can't get on. Whereas taking that water taxi, it's just that much nicer feeling of arriving into Venice. I'm just going to play this video. And that was going over the Grand Canal. So you can see that even going through the Grand Canal, those water taxis are packed. So our view today of Venice is going to be, here's the train station that I mentioned coming in. We're going to go down the Grand Canal, and then we're going to get to St. Mark's Basilica and St. Mark's Square. You see these red lines here. Those are not roads. Those are canals. So now you know, if you've never seen a map of Venice, you've never been to Venice, those red are actually all canal. Your clients have to be extremely careful, because they could walk down a road like this one, think that, oh great, there's a canal there. Doesn't mean there's a bridge. So it's always good to get lost in Venice. In fact, Venice Tourist Board has a section on their website called Get Lost, ! Which means to tell you, make sure your clients know they will get lost. Here's the beautiful Rialto Bridge. Now, the Rialto Bridge is the oldest bridge in Venice. It happens to be built in the 16th century. It's got a great vista. If your clients can walk over it, have a look out, they'll be able to take some superb photos of the Grand Canal. The left side takes you to the market of Venice. The right side actually does that 7-minute walk from the Rialto Bridge through to Piazza San Marco. Inside the bridge, there are tourist shops behind these glass walls. Those are all tourist little shops that your clients can go to. And as you can see, there's restaurants that line the canal, as well as beautiful buildings, but you get a great shot. Your clients can get a great shot from being at the top of the bridge. Make sure when you book them a tour in Venice, the walking tour would include, hopefully, the Rialto Bridge. If not, put a little post-it note in there so that your clients know when they get there, make sure they walk to the Rialto Bridge, one of the main sites, absolutely, of Venice. Now we're going to go on to the Grand Canal, which is that reverted S shape that we saw in the map, on the map. Along here, you will find Romanesque, Gothic, and Renaissance buildings. And you can see the restaurants that line this here. Here's a hotel. This is actually a gondola station. So it's really an exciting way to come into Venice from the train station, taking either the Vaporetto or preferably a water taxi into the hotel. Look at this beautiful building. This is the kind of sights they see on the Grand Canal. This is a government building. You can see the Euro flag on the left, Italian flag in the middle, and the Venice flag on the right. And you can see this also has a private water taxi dock. So they will be receiving visitors at this building. Whereas this home here, probably something that doesn't get visitors, so no splashy dock there, just a regular little door that's going to open up and let the family out into their home. Another gorgeous building, so typical of Venice with this here that Susan will go through at the Doge's Palace, but you can see the windows. They look very Venetian looking windows. You can see the private water taxi dock again. So just a fantastic canal to go down. And what better place to sit and sip and stare at the beautiful Grand Canal. One of the restaurants along the way. I believe this one is at the Gritty Palace, a 5-star, certainly a place that Susan and I have found ourselves more than once, sipping Prosecco as we watch the gondolas and boats go by. You won't see the big cruise liners because they do go by St. Mark's Square, but on the other side of the island. So the Grand Canal is reserved for taxis, Vaporetto, people that are driving their own boats, and for barges that are taking goods and services. So it is an extremely busy canal, certainly one to make you feel that you're in Venice when you're sitting there watching. Turn it over to Susan now.
Thank you, Sandy. It is absolutely a Boutique Escapes imperative position to have clients, your clients, stay very near St. Mark's Square. And the reason is, take a look at all the tourists that you're seeing right there. And this is February. This photograph is taken in February. You can see it's cooler out with the jackets and toques on. But what we want your clients to be able to do is in the evening, when the cruise ship tourists have left, when the tourists who come just for the day because they can't afford Venice are gone, your clients might be 5-7 minutes away walking to this magnificent square. And I can tell you, there is nothing like being in this square at 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night when nobody else is around. It is absolutely fabulous to have to share this square with no one. So we want our clients, your clients, in fact, to be in the square before and after the tourists arrive, whether that's early in the morning, take a look at this, or later in the day. Now, keep in mind that Venice is one of the most romantic cities in Europe. And part of this reason are those beautiful canals, the small little streets that we're going to show you, where clients can walk down these streets and just be mesmerized by the maze of streets that are before them, canals that are before them, small bridges that are everywhere. Now, Venice was called La Serenissima. This was a Byzantine title that was bestowed upon the Doge and later to the entire Republic. And really, it means beautiful little one. That's exactly what Venice is. It's a beautiful little one. We might often think of it as a big city, but really it's not. It's a tiny little area when we compare it to all of the big cities out there. This, in its heyday of the 16th century, was an exquisite downtown. And that's how it was thought of, because in this area we have, you can see just right to the right of the bell tower here, the Campanile, you can see the beginning of the Doge's Palace. And then to the left, we see at the bottom of the screen there is St. Mark's Square. This was where one should have been if you were anybody in the 16th century, 17th century, 18th century in Venice. The Doge at his palace would receive dignitaries and would entertain guests. So that was one important place to be. And then, of course, Catholic Church history, important to be at St. Mark's Basilica. Let's take a look a little closer at St. Mark's Basilica. Some of your clients might say, okay, I'm going to be going to Rome. I'm going to go to Venice, Florence. I'm going to see fabulous churches. Do I really have to see St. Mark's Basilica? Agents, it is your job to convince them to see this magnificent piece of art. Just taking a look here at the outside, we know that it has many domes. These come from the Arabic world. We know that there is a lot of gold in here. This comes from the Byzantine Empire, the Byzantine world, the area of Turkey, the Ottoman Empire. So what we're showing you here is the close-up of the front of the church and how exquisite it is. If you look at the very top of this picture, you can see the winged lion. That represents the patron saint of Venice, and that would be, who is Saint Mark. It's important to note that because the remains, the bones of Saint Mark's are actually inside this church. So now that we've seen the outside, and certainly a guide would tell your clients much more, let's take a look at the inside. This is where it's a little bit of shock and awe. Even when I go, anytime, I am amazed by how different this church is from the other churches that we see in Italy. This really tells us it is Byzantine or Eastern style compared to all the others that are more Romanesque, Gothic, and Renaissance. But let's take a look at what we see on the walls here. When you take a look and you see that gold, those are indeed tiny mosaics. Nobody has gone and plastered that wall with gold leaf. They are tiny mosaics. And when you're there, it is everywhere. Absolutely spectacular to see. In the center of the picture at the back, the guide will go through this with your clients. The high altar is in the center. St. Mark's remains are underneath there. And we also have what's called the Palo d'Oro that's behind there. An amazing mosaic that is, to this day, parts of it are refurbished and replaced so that it doesn't completely fall apart. Once your clients are there, they do have to pay a small entry fee of about €4 to get back to see this magnificent piece. The money goes towards restoring it and making sure that it doesn't fall apart. But your clients should have with them they should always be carrying a little bit of cash. So if there's some recommendation you want to give your clients, whether they travel to Europe or any other city, a credit card is great if you're going to be sitting down and having a beautiful lunch. But if you just want to, buy a €3 gelato, or in this case, get back to the Palo d'Oro, your clients will need cash. So a handful of euro, maybe a few €5 bills. This will be very useful for them. In fact, some restrooms throughout Europe, there will be somebody sitting at the entrance of the restroom, and your client should be giving them a couple of pennies, or a half a 50-cent piece, or €1. It makes sure that the clients have what they need when they enter, and those restrooms, those bathrooms are kept clean. You find this all over Europe, so a good tip. But here we are in St. Mark's Square. I think we can continue on to the next slide. Sorry, it is. Thank you. Yep. So now we've left St. Mark's Basilica, and we highly recommend your clients do a tour of the Basilica inside. So clients will also see it from the outside with the guide, but then go inside. Once they leave St. Mark's Basilica, immediately to the left and towards the water is the Doge's Palace, which I mentioned before. This palace has been in use for 120 Doges and has incredible history behind it. The palace was to be really their signature of diplomacy, justice, wealth, and prosperity for the area. Remember that of all the city-states, at one point, Venice was the most important. It was a port state. It was the gateway to the Mediterranean. And we know that we have important explorers who took off from Venice to discover new lands. So trading empire dominated the Mediterranean. Take a look at this building. The style here is known as not only romantic, but we call this a Venetian Gothic. That window that you see there with this 4-petaled flower is extremely Venetian. As your clients are on a gondola or on a water taxi, they will see this window everywhere. Buildings that are 300, 400, 500 years old showing this building. Absolutely stunning to see it up close and to have a guide go through this with your clients. Once they've gone through the beautiful outside, clients, if your clients have booked a tour, the guide will take them inside. Now, the inside is absolutely majestic with beautiful Murano glass chandeliers, with beautiful wall coverings. Certain rooms are made to look as they would have looked 400, 500, 600 years ago. The image behind me as I'm talking is in fact the ceiling of the Doge's Palace, which is reminiscent of what you would find in the Pitti Palace in Florence or in the Medici Palace in Florence. You also see it in the ceiling, of course, of St. Peter's Basilica and definitely in the map room of the Vatican museums. So another important building for your clients to go inside, of course, is this incredible Doge's Palace. I do want to mention, I think the next slide might be gondolas, Sand?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. So once they're in the main square of St. Mark's, when you look across the Grand Canal, you see this very important church. Whether clients are able to visit it or not, it's up to them. The important aspect here is to see it. This is one of the most important and most famous churches your clients will see when someone shows them a picture of Venice. Now, I want to just take a moment and have you think back to St. Mark's Square. There are cafes and restaurants inside that on that square. So at both ends of the square, there are restaurants and cafes. At the top end, there are 2 museums, and at the bottom end, we have St. Mark's Basilica and the Doge's Palace. There are places to sit in that square. Be warned and tell your clients, if they sit down to have a coffee in that square, here we are at the square, if they sit down, so imagine as we're looking at this building, the St. Mark's Basilica, on the right and on the left, there are tables that are out there. If clients sit down and have a coffee, that coffee can be, I'm saying 10 to 15 euro. I'm talking from experience. A cup of tea, 10 to 15 euro. If you order a glass of wine, chances are it's going to be about 20 euro, maybe 25 euro. Once your clients sit down, the restaurant sends out a quartet to play music. That gets added onto your bill. It's anywhere between 10 euro and 15 euro per person to have that quartet play. And your clients don't have a choice. The restaurant sends these people out when people are sitting. So as long as your clients are sitting and having a coffee, that will be on their bill. I don't want your clients to have sticker shock. If they choose to sit there and they know their bill might be euro 60, euro 70, not a problem. In my mind, it's absolutely worth it. There is nothing like sitting in that square and seeing, you're in May, hundreds and hundreds of tourists not knowing where to go and what to do. And there you are, just enjoying, maybe nursing that coffee for 1 hour so that you can take a look at that majestic square. It's great if you know how much it's going to be, but you don't want your clients to come back with sticker shock and say, this is what it cost us. This bridge here is the Bridge of Sighs, very famous. It attaches the Doge's Palace to the prison, and you can see it during the day. If clients walk along the water from the Doge's Palace, in fact, it's actually towards the water, the Vaporetto Dock A. Most clients get off at D. A is down a little ways, but as you walk, this is what you see, this unbelievable bridge, this beautiful covered bridge. The most notable and infamous prisoner in this prison on the right was Casanova. And anybody who has a guide will hear this. If your clients have a guide, the guides love to tell this story. And I believe that is the end of St. Mark's area. We're going on, just a little street to give you an idea how narrow the streets are. You can see no vehicle could go down here, not even a scooter would, because at the end of this street is a bridge and many, many bridges. This little street happens to be behind one of our favorite hotels to use. Very quiet and secluded area. This is July. It was 35 degrees, 37 degrees this day.
42.
42.
42 that day.
And so end of July, but you can take a look. This is only 2 minutes behind one of our favorite hotels. Clients would exit, turn to the right. All this is in their package for them. And behind, bam, little market area, little restaurants. We walked over one bridge. We could see this beautiful bridge in the distance. But as you keep walking, bam, St. Mark's Square. But your clients have found a quiet way to get there, really almost the back way. Because look at this, somebody's house. They've got their boat covered up, but just that little nook and cranny that makes people feel like, yep, we can breathe, take it calmly. We go behind the hotel and we end up at St. Mark's. But on the way, little shops, little restaurants, little markets that are not crazy busy. And I'm going to turn it over to Peter, who's going to talk about gondolas.
Okay, thank you, Susan. The gondola, a symbol of Venice, much like the Eiffel Tower is to Paris, or like we saw last week, the Leaning Tower is to Pisa. a gondola ride a traditional must experience when in Venice. It will take your clients back to a time before motorboats, when it was only possible to get around Venice by walking or by rowing. It's one of the great experiences, some say the most authentic way to experience this unique city. There's nothing like a gondola ride down the Grand Canal, navigated by your traditional striped shirt gondolier, passing under the iconic Rialto Bridge, and then turning off into one of the many small, quiet, picturesque canals where only gondolas are permitted. Not to worry about a passing motorboat turning over the gondola. That would not be good for business. To experience the sights and sounds of Venice from the perspective of the gondola is something your clients must experience. We recommend having Boutique Escapes book your client's gondola, which can range from a 30-minute shared experience with a maximum of 6 per gondola, or for your higher-end clients, a private experience, including local musicians serenading your clients with traditional romantic music of Italy. And notice the absence of motorboats.
Yeah. Okay, so we're now going to move on to the islands of Venice that are the most popular, and that is Murano and Burano. So I've got the map here just to show you how far it would be, because most of the tourists do leave from Piazza San Marco. They have to navigate around the island and make their way out to Murano. The reason I'm saying this is because those are 5-hour excursions to do those 2 islands. And they are worth it if clients have 3 nights in Venice. If they've only got 2 nights, counting their first day as getting to Venice and wandering, their second day should really be spent exploring Venice on a tour or 2. Now, third day, perfect day to do Murano. Look how pristine this beautiful island is. They've got motorboats there, the taxi boats, people that own their boats that live in the apartments right there. But the main reason people go to Murano is for their exquisite Murano glass. And here we have a fella that's probably worked here most of his life. It's done in extreme heat, they're glass blowing. And show you the next. That is what, when your clients go, they see happening. They actually see the glass going into the fire and the glass blowing itself. So again, if clients have already done the sights of Venice, this is really unique to the country of Italy, in that Murano glass can be found in most hotels throughout the country, and even, of course, in Venice. When they leave the glass blowing area, they will get to their showroom. And if they are going to bring back Murano glass and do the tour, this is where they have the greatest selection of Murano glass. There are some really high-end, beautiful boutiques in Venice itself that sell it. We usually put a name or 2 in our packages for clients that don't go to Murano, so that they can take the chance of have the chance to go have a look. But even just bringing back a beautiful bauble for a girlfriend, for your mother, your sister, or yourself, why not? It's absolutely exquisite jewelry, and it's definitely something that people see right off the bat. Oh, Murano glass. And as I said, they can see chandeliers in the hotels in Venice. If not in their room, then certainly at the front desk or in their lobby area. Now, the next map, this is Burano, way out here. So again, 5 hours, because most of that time will be spent sailing on the waters, which are beautiful because you're passing by other islands. You're seeing from the distance the islands of Venice. But Burano has something it's known for, and that is, it is the most Instagrammable island in all of Italy, and I believe is Europe as well. Look at this little town. These are where houses are colored, the colorful boats, row upon row of beautiful little pristine shops to visit. Here's another great shot. Almost looks Caribbean-like for those of you that, I'm sure all of you have been to the Caribbean. You see the pink and blue and yellow houses there. This is their little piece of that on Burano Island. Again, how adorable with the gondola. Whatever these are, can't think of what they're called, like the barbershop thing. Anyways, a beautiful island nonetheless to do some Instagrammable photos at. They are known for their lace making. Many of the shops clients can go into and actually watch the lace being made and buy a piece. Again, a lovely souvenir to bring back home and use either on a coffee table or on an end table to remind them of their beautiful trip to Venice and the islands. Okay, Susan.
Okay, so many lakes, so little time. I know that most of us at Boutique Escapes have been to many of the lakes in northern Italy, and we all everybody hears about how beautiful the lakes are. I would have to agree. They are beautiful. They are breathtaking. Scenery is second to none. Absolutely beautiful. We often think of, we've chosen Lake Como here and area. Your clients can get there we would have them on a train from Venice to Milan, where they would do a quick change and go to another train that would take them to the town of Como. If clients are going to Bellagio, Peter will talk about the way we would get clients to Bellagio. So we're going to start with our clients in Como. Como is the lake itself is an inverted Y. Yep. And so we've got Bellagio kind of in the center at the top there. We're going to start in Como at the bottom left. And great. It's a really great spot for clients to stay and do day trips. It's also less expensive than some of the other areas along the lake. This lake is known in some circles as Honeymoon Lake. It's where Italy meets the Alps. So Italian Alps to the Swiss Alps. It is the perfect place for clients to take a break, relax, and get some romance in. The area is elegant, has easy access around the lake, and again, scenery second to none. Let's take a look at some of the areas around the city. This is, and remember, we're in Como town. It's a small town along the lake. Of all the towns, the biggest one, but small compared to the other cities we've talked about. Here we have the port area. Just on the right of the port area, you can see the buildings, the greenery in the background, the mountains. Continuing on, we get to the main square. This is the Piazza del Duomo. This is the cathedral that's in a Romanesque and Gothic style. But you can see that in the summer, many tourists are here. Many of the tourists that you see here will not be here overnight, maybe just dropped off on a bus tour and walking around. We suggest, if your clients want to be around Lake Como, that Como town itself is a great place to start. Clients can go in the evening and take a look at the white alabaster that's on this building, travertine that is used in the building. Beautiful, absolutely spectacular at night. There are restaurants around the area. Another square nearby as we leave the cathedral, just showing some of the streets and the scenery in the background. So a beautiful place for clients to stay. Continuing on, just one of the little streets, again, absolutely beautiful little squares that are in the area, tower in the background there. Here's why you want your clients to stay in Como rather than just do a bus tour, see it for the day and leave. This is where you get the atmosphere. This is where you get the idea of, so many people say, my clients want to live like a local or be like a local. This is what locals do. They don't get off a bus, walk around during the day, get on a bus and drive away. They spend time in the area. They get to know people that are there. If your clients are there for 2 or 3 nights, why not go to the same coffee shop at night, have a coffee maybe at 10 o'clock at night, get to know the waiters. Oh, you're here again. We're happy to have you. What did you do today? Let them get a little bit of that local flair. So once we're done at Como, and for some clients, they may want to go on and explore the lake. There are beautiful towns, Verona, Lecco, Menaggio they can visit, or of course, they can go all the way on to that tip, that little heart of the Y, which is Bellagio. And I'll turn it over to Peter here.
Thank you, Susan. So Bellagio, the self-proclaimed pearl of the lake, known for its harborfront shops, its beautiful lakeside promenades with magnificent gardens. If we can go to the next slide. There you see the harborfront shops, magnificent gardens, lakeside promenades, steep stepped lanes and cobblestone alleys full of shops, boutiques, and restaurants. And as you can see from the pictures, the streets of Bellagio are steep. So please let your clients know in case they have mobility issues. There's a lot of up and there's a lot of down. Since there's no train service to Bellagio, Boutique Escapes can book a private transfer direct to Bellagio from Milan. It's about 90 minutes from either the train station or the airport. As another option for clients on a budget is to take the train to Como, which is about an hour, and from there hop on a Lake Como ferry, and in about 45 minutes they will be in beautiful Bellagio. And you can see the lake and mountain views.
Beautiful.
The pearl of the lake.
Okay, Sharon.
Hi, I'm going to touch on Milan. And what we're going to start with is essentially Milan if you're going for the day or for a handful of hours. That's not to say your clients may not want to spend an evening there. And of course, we're very happy to arrange for the hotel and the transfers and everything that is appropriate. Let's say that you're coming from Venice and you're headed for Como. The train from Venice to Milan is approximately 3.5 hours. You would get into the Milan Centrale station and they have luggage storage. So you can pop your luggage in, spend a few hours in Milan, maybe see a site or two, and then head out on the train to Como, which is around a 45-minute train ride, depending on the station you depart from or the time of day. And then, of course, if you want to come up from Florence for the day, the train is only less than 2 hours. So you could spend an entire day there, enjoy a lunch, enjoy a dinner, see a couple of the sites, kind of get immersed in the whole feeling, and then head back to your hotel in Florence. So now let's just talk about where we're going to go in Milan. So if we look at the Duomo di Milan, which is in the very center, Milan's cathedral, and from the cathedral, we are,
It's not on Scala. The Scala is up here. It's not marked, Sharon. It's just in this area.
Okay, so then we're going to go through the Galleria to the Teatro della Scala. And from the Scala, we're going to go past Sforzesco Castle and then on to see the Last Supper at the Santa Maria delle Grazie. And our restaurant street is right nearby. So let us start with the Duomo of Milan. So the Duomo of Milan, next slide, please. The Duomo of Milan looks like a giant work of lace. It is a Gothic cathedral that was started in the late 1300s and took 600 years to complete. I know that your clients will tell you they've been to church after church. This is not one of those churches. This is a one of a kind. It is the 5th largest in the world in terms of Christian churches. Inside, it has, like many of the others, the impressive marble columns and floors, paintings and stained glass, statues. It is overwhelming, stunning. And then, of course, you have the outside. The important thing about this cathedral is to see the outside up close and personal, which is why your clients must take the elevator up to the roof. Now, of course, they can walk, but it is 250 steps. Taking the elevator requires a fee. The fee is not high, it's around 15 euro. Problem is, if they're going in high season, you should be booking it for them, which means that Boutique Escapes in the package would look after it for you. Once you're on top of that rooftop, there are benches for people to sit and simply enjoy the stunning views. On a clear day, you may even see the snow-capped mountains of the Alps. And if you see that gold Madonna on your left on the top, during World War II, they covered it. They did not want the cathedral to be a target. So on the outside of the cathedral, you will see that they are 3,400 statues, the most of any building in the world. There are gargoyles, spires, pinnacles, and the detail to which it's done reminds one of lace. It is a different kind of Gothic than what Susan pointed out on the Venetian cathedral. If you move down from the cathedral, we will be going through the Galleria. And the Galleria is on your left. You can see the arch. The Galleria was put together in the late 1800s. It is called the street under glass because there is an archway of glass and iron that covers it completely. This street has got all the names you could imagine. There are even 2 Pradas, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Chanel, Versace. You name it, it has it. And look at that floor. It is solid marble. And built into that marble are mosaics. As Susan was speaking about coffee, in the cost of a cup of coffee outside of the Basilica in Venice, that's about what you're going to pay to have a cup of coffee in a restaurant or a cafe in this marvelous Galleria. It is there for atmosphere, and it is incredibly elegant. It is definitely a place your clients should be stopping, and its location, of course, is perfect because you've been to the cathedral. You now walk down this street under glass, and you wind up at La Scala. Could I get that slide, please? There you go, La Scala. It was founded in the late 1700s. Anyone that was ever anyone has sung or has written operas that have been worked in this magnificent building. It does hold 3,000 people, and it is open for tours. Now, we can book tours for your clients, but I should warn you that even though they say tour X is going to happen, they may opt not to. If there's a production going on that evening and they need more time, they will not let tourists in. In any case, there is a museum inside the building where you can see pieces and you can still get a flavor of what it's about, although you will not get up into the area of any of those 3,000 seats. But Teatro alla Scala is still one of the most important features in Rome. Milan. And as we move from there, we're now going to take our walk and go to Castle Sforzese. This particular castle was built in the late 1400s as a defense. And then it was purchased by the Duke of Milan around the 15th century. And it was turned into an incredibly lavish residence. Through time, it was sold to the city of Milan. And what Milan did, it's kind of like the concept of the Vatican. Inside are multiple museums, and on the outside, you can see it still dates back because of the Roman columns. But inside, they have multiple museums, a musical instrument, archaeological, paintings, ancient art. They even have the last sculpture that Michelangelo worked on, which was called the Rodinini Pietà. Unfortunately, it never did finish because Michelangelo passed before that could be completed. Before we go on to the Last Supper, which is just going to be around the corner, one of the important things about Boutique Escapes, our agents are very important to us. And we want you to have the confidence to speak to your agents with just those couple of pearls of wisdom that give you that little extra impression of being better than the agent down the street. So when you watch our videos, you can watch them again. Susan will send you a link for YouTube. Try and pick up something that we've said that you want to use when you're speaking with your clients, just to give you that edge, that you didn't just pick up a book and look inside, that you really know what this is about. Something maybe unique, not necessarily a fact, or a fact if you find it's unusual, but something that really makes you one of a kind. Our Boutique Escapes packages are built for the agent because you know your client. You tell us what you want. And if it works, we're glad to do it. If not, we'll make our suggestions and you can see how that plays. So now moving on to the Last Supper. This unassuming building was a convent. That was back in the late 1400s. This particular building is well known because it houses the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. This is not just a painting that you could put a frame on and hang anywhere. This is a 15-foot by 29-foot painting put directly on the end wall of the dining room of the convent. When Da Vinci created this, he did it not just because of its biblical meanings. He did it to express 12 different facial expressions when they heard the news that Jesus knew he was about to be betrayed. This was painted reflecting seconds after he said it, which means that it has a significance that is more impressive than just being a painting. Michelangelo stepped out of the box and went literally into the mind of what was happening at that moment.
Da Vinci.
Excuse me, correct. I've done that
Interchangeable
before.
kind of.
I have done that before. In any case, in order to see this, you will require a ticket. There is simply no way around it. It is undoubtedly one of the most popular places in the world. A ticket is absolutely required. You are allowed in 18 people at a time. You get 15 minutes to see this, and you are ushered out, and the next group of people comes in. Now, 15 minutes, you might think, gee, that's a lot of time for one picture. Number one, your clients will have an amazing upfront and personal shot to see this. You can take photos, but no flash. And you can work your way down the 29 feet, examining everything of that painting without bustling crowds. You really get to see it, and you see it well. For Boutique Escapes, when it comes time to doing tours, we believe that tours are a big part of it. Yes, clients can do it on their own, and they can get the audio guides, and we get that. But there is something about a live in-person individual telling the story of why this is what it is. It's something you really can't get from a book, and you're likely to go to the Last Supper once in a lifetime. To hear someone tell you about it, they're going to remember it. They're going to remember that you as the agent sent them there. They're going to remember why you did. And that same will apply to the Galleria or Venice having coffee. And that will apply to going to the Duomo or the Basilica. They're going to remember that you did that for them. It's going to be the impressions they take home. So the last thing that I'm going to mention, of course, is Boutique Escapes and food. They kind of go hand in hand. So there is a restaurant street, and it is called Via Fiore Chiari. And of course, that will be put on the website. It's about a 20-minute walk from the Last Supper. So if you happen to time that at lunch or dinner, good for you. You can always go there. We do have some restaurant suggestions. And when your clients go to the restaurants, what are they going to order? Well, you pretty much have heard the phrase alla Milanese. What that means is done the Milan way. And here's something you probably don't know. Risotto, that comes from Milan, because Milan is the rice bowl of Italy. They actually grow rice there, the type of rice that is used in risotto. And risotto Milanese is made with saffron and copious amounts of butter. That's the spot to have it. So when people are going, we will tell them what are the highlights of Milan in terms of food and what they should buy, and in terms of sights and what they should see. And now we are finishing on what could be a better picture for Italy than a wall full of wine and a table just waiting. Cheers, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks to my team members. I did get a note from an agent saying that she lost volume. I don't know why. I haven't got that from anybody else, and ours appears to be on nothing much, so I'm not sure why that was lost. I do want to tell everybody that we do have our email addresses individually listed by our pictures. So if you want to send us a request, please go ahead and do so. I can say that things are starting to look up a bit. You know, it looks like travel may happen, certainly for Americans, in September and October. We are hopeful that it may happen for Canadians as well. I know that some of my team members are looking forward to being in Italy in October, and some luck and a few vaccines to back us up, maybe that will happen. So again, I don't think there are any questions here for me to answer. I'm just going to take a look and double check that. Yes, Anna says, get lost in Venice. You'll find the best food. I agree, absolutely. I thought I had something else there. Nope, and that's it. So no questions. We do want to mention that the photo credits come from Venice Tourism, Murano Tourism, Milan Tourism. Copyright of many of the beautiful pictures are Dreams Time. And of course, many that you saw were our own pictures from Boutique Escapes. And I do have something else here. Oh, thanks so much, Anna. You are all very welcome. Thanks for that nice comment there. And that's it for us. Anybody have anything to add, Boutique team?
I'm just going to comment quickly as the wine person and say that when you're in Milan, You'll find your Barbaresco and your Barolo. I mentioned that last time that Barolo is the king of wine in Italy. It comes from an area about 1 hour to 2 hours outside of Milan. So your choices of Piedmontese wine, which is the area Barolo and Barbaresco, is phenomenal when you're on that restaurant street. It's definitely something to highlight on a map for your clients. And again, they should, when they go earlier in the day, take a business card from the restaurant, make their reservation so that they have their address on the business card. They'll be on time for their reservation. They can delight in their Milanese type styles of food and splash that down with some fabulous Barolo or Barbaresco. Perfect. Okay.
Fabulous.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. We're going to sign off. Have a great
Okay.
weekend. Friday
Bye,
tomorrow.
everybody. Thanks.
Bye.